All right, welcome back to the Can of Corn podcast, hosted by Prep Baseball Iowa. I'm Tyler Cropley, your host, and today we got Coach Devin Schwiesow on from Saint Ansgar. How you doing, Coach?
Good. Hey, thanks for having us, Tyler.
Yeah, so kind of diving in, you guys started practice yesterday. First full day. How was that?
It was good. It's always hard for us. We got a lot of kids that are out. We're multi-sport athletes. We preach that here. So I think 80% of our kids are out for either golf or track. So we had it in the morning yesterday. So they were pulling some double duty this week and next week. But yeah, it was a good day and good to see all of them back together again.
Good. So with nearly 500 wins under your belt and that last year being your first state title, what was that feeling going through your head when that final out was recorded?
It was obviously it was a lot of emotions going through. We try not to preach to the kids that it's not all about winning, and it's about doing the right things and being the best version of yourself, and all the things that we try to use. But I can't lie that that was a fun time, and we definitely have some good memories from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Some memories that I'm sure you have with your son too, with Jace throwing that championship game. Just what was that interaction like with you and him?
Yeah, it was, you know, uh, to go out on a win for him, and you always say you want to win your last game that you play, but
Mhm.
for him to be on the field and for my younger son to be playing at shortstop too was pretty special. My sixth grade boy in the dugout. It doesn't get any better than that. It was kind of a fairy tale ending for us.
Right, and then I'm sure you look up in the stands and you see all the close community that are there witnessing that for the first time. Kind of that community aspect with a small town school is a pretty neat experience, is it not?
Yeah, we had great support. Always have here. Had great support all year, but we really made the trip down to Carroll. Our fans did, so it was a lot of fun.
Good. So then I guess more of like the overall group. How was the pitching, offense, and overall chemistry? How did that all develop throughout the course of the year to get you guys to where you ended up?
We had lost. I think there are three of five games in the last 2 weeks. Close games. We saw everybody's best pitching. We tried to keep preaching to our kids. Keep learning from it. Keep getting better. Be the best version of ourselves when we need to be. Obviously, we didn't win conference. We had mentioned that to our kids that we had teams that went down to the state tournament and didn't win conference, and likewise we had teams that won conference, had great conference play, and then didn't make it down to the state tournament. So we just wanted to be playing our best baseball when it mattered, and we did that at the end of the year last year.
And that's a big thing, right? Playing your best baseball at the right time of year because you can get out to a hot start and then go through a lull in the middle and have a little bit of a reset. So, like you said, those two or three losses there towards the end really kind of reset you guys from what it looked like.
Yeah, I think it refocused our group a little bit and got our seniors focused. And like I said, we knew that we didn't have the pitching matchups that we would definitely need down the road. But when we got those pitchers in our rotation against our top tier teams, we felt that we could beat anybody.
So then going back to that last year, what was like the biggest challenge you saw as a head coach for your team as a whole? Was it a certain game that stood out? Was it some of the practices with the long summer season, just keeping the guys focused? Like, what was that biggest challenge for you?
I think the biggest thing is, and every year I think this is true, is trying to get your kids to accept their responsibility, do their job, and what is their role on the team. And once everybody understood what their role was, and we were playing our best baseball, I think everybody embraced that role. We had a senior in Daniel Sutcliffe. I don't think that got a varsity at bat. He was a big base runner for us, really fast, a big part of our team, but wasn't a big hitter on our team, and didn't play a lot defensively either. So everybody accepting their role was really important. And I think that, like I said, for the kids to understand that's always the hardest part every year is trying to figure out those roles, get those kids in the right seat on the bus, so to speak, and then be playing our best baseball when we need to be, and then
Yeah.
everybody accept those roles.
I think that's the hardest thing, right? Is when these kids are growing up, they're the good players on their teams, and then they come to a team that has a bunch of them together. It's a really hard thing for them to accept. But like you said, if you can get the whole team to buy in, to like their 1/9 and doing their role and not worrying about what everybody else is doing, like do what your role is.
Yeah. And we had some kids that probably didn't think that was going to be their role coming in, but once again, embrace that role, and that made us a better team.
So looking forward to this year, who do you have returning, and what are you kind of looking forward to from them?
So, we got a lot of kids returning. Obviously, we miss our two big guns in Jason Gus on the hill, both, 3, 4 year starters for us. Yeah, and their leadership was so important as well. Iker Hoffman, obviously, we're going to miss him. Left fielder for us, pitched a little bit. And then Daniel Sutcliffe, once again, which was a true team player. So we're going to miss all four of those seniors. But we're fortunate that we have 7 starters back, from that state tournament run. Our pitching, I think, will be the big thing. We have some really good young pitchers. Have they pitched in big games like Jason Gus did? Probably not. We had a couple of those guys that pitched in the state tournament last year. So we hope that they step up in big roles. We think they will. They've been part of big games. So that's the biggest thing for us is who can we trust on the mound, when it is time to win those big games. Offensively, I feel pretty good coming in. Offensively, we have our starting catcher back. He's started for us the last 2 years in Seth Schatz. He does a great job defensively back there. We look for him to help us offensively this year. Joe Clevenger in right field, he's been a 3 year starter for us, was on the 2026 team when we went down to state. We beat Newman and ended up getting clipped by Remsen St. Mary's in the first round in 2020, or excuse me, in 2003. Yeah, that was. But yeah, he's a great senior for us, great leader. So we got him back in right field or in the outfield somewhere. Jackson Vroom, which was a spot player for us last year. Once again, our senior. Connor Mullerback, he's kind of our wild card this year. He was injured last year. He was an all conference player for us as a freshman. He's an all state kid in football. Great athlete, great track kid. Even better leader for us. He had one at bat last year as a bunt in the state tournament in the semifinals. I think he had that he got down to be a part of that game. So we get him back this year. We're super excited about what he can bring to the table, not only athletically but leadership wise as well. So we got some nice pieces coming back. So we're excited about this year.
Well, that kind of speaks to what you talked about earlier with doing your job, and with his only at bat being in that semifinal game, he could have went up there and just kind of did it half, but no, he was all in and got the bunt down in the time that you guys needed it.
Yeah, and then he didn't get to play last year at all because, like I said, he was injured, but never missed a practice. He came to every practice, was there for the kids, was as big a part of the team that we had of any kid that played in that games. Like I said, he's a super leader for us, and all our seniors are. So we hope to, like I said, hope to replace some of that with that leadership.
So the experience side of things, you guys obviously you said you're missing a little bit on the mound with the two big guns, but with that experience that they got from last year, putting those kids in those situations, like it's got to be a good feeling as a coach knowing they've been in the situations before. Maybe not some of the exact same ones, but they've seen their teammates do it beforehand, so they can learn from that.
Yeah, for sure. I think success breeds success, right? So that, when the kids get down there, they know what that looks like. They know what it takes to get to that level. They know how to prepare for it, maybe more importantly, mentally and physically. So, we got a really good youth program going right now. And these kids have played a lot of baseball. And I think that's a lot of it too, is put those kids in those situations where they go compete for 5 or 6 years before they get to our program. And I think that, pays dividends when you get to the high school level.
For sure. How is the you guys been handling the target on your back coming into this season culturally wise? Like, if you preached it in the off season to them, knowing that everybody's going to be out to get you, or is it more just kind of you guys controlling your own business and you guys go day by day?
Well, we kind of, I don't know if we listened to a podcast earlier, or at least somebody shared it with me. I'm not big on no offense, listen to these podcasts, but listen to a podcast on, and I don't even remember who it was, but our name didn't get mentioned once, so we have a little chip on our shoulder too, is, we're going to play, this is a new year, and, preoccupation with the past or the future. We always tell our kids is the mental enemy of competitive excellence in the present. And we don't care, what happened last year or what's going to happen tomorrow. We got to prepare for today. And that's what we preach to our kids is let's be in the moment. Let's practice today. Like that didn't happen last year. We actually sat down with the kids earlier this year and watched part of the state championship game and part of the tournament run. And there was 100 plays that could have happened that went for us that could have went against us. So we realize 100% that if we don't go make a couple plays or they do make a couple plays, we wouldn't have been the state champ. So that's the mindset that we have moving forward is we got to go prove that this year. And, we want to be playing once again our best baseball when it matters.
Hmm. Yeah, and so after achieving that state title for the first time after a long time being at the head coach, what really excites you the most aside from just like it being a new year, but at the team aspect, like what excites you personally?
I think just getting kids to reach their potential. I think that's, the most important part for us is let's go be the best version of ourselves we can be. We don't try to be someone else. We just try to be as good as we can possibly be. And, every year for us to, and every year is going to be a little bit different. Is how do you get kids to accept roles? Do we put kids in the right spots to go succeed? And that's what we try to do is try to get our kids to succeed. So we're excited about that. Like I said, winning the championship was great, but this is a new year, and we realize that we have to go prove it in terms of being the best version of ourselves we can be.
Hmm. I got one final question for you. Was there anything memorable that you guys had as a team that was kind of kept in house, but could kind of get out there publicly? Just some little small story from the state tournament run or something that happened during a game?
No, I think probably the ones that I do have that are memorable that are in house are probably going to stay in house. That the things that happen behind the scenes, and I just so proud of our kids for going to perform, and nobody expected us last year to be in that position. But I think the biggest thing is our kids believed they could, and like I said, they accepted roles and accepted responsibility, and that was the fun part is and all the stuff that goes with that, and thinking back on that, like you said, that's the fun stuff to remember. But we'll keep that in house for now.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, coach, I appreciate you coming on and good luck this year. I know you got practice started yesterday, but good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tyler. Thanks for having us.
Yep. For Tyler Croppin, the Can of Corn podcast, thanks everybody for watching.